How does embracing our mortality lead to living bigger, bolder, and with more purpose? Is talking about death off limits, or does courageously facing our inescapable expiration date lead to discovering what life is really all about? I'm Morgan Motzinger, and this is the PS We Expire podcast. Each week, we'll unpack insights from psychology, neuroscience, and spirituality to equip ourselves with ways to navigate our inner world and relate to others with more courage and authenticity. Grab your sense of humor, your burning questions, or your very favorite existential crisis. It's time to explore the thrilling and challenging limited time offer we call life. I'm doing this whole series on entrepreneurship, and the way that I've been thinking about doing this series, I thought maybe I should give you first just the basic intro of how exactly do you start a business? How do you come up with the idea? How do you file your business name with the state? What about business structure, et cetera, and give you all the basic nuts and bolts. And then I realized that we have something called AI now. Have you heard of it? I use ChatGPT a lot. I also use perplexity.ai. If you have not utilized these tools, you are really missing out. So instead of telling you all the things that you could get in 2 seconds by typing this into ChatGPT, how do I start a business? Or I'll just give you a couple of prompts. Okay. So you could say, I want to create a product-based business. I live in this area. There's about this many people. I am leaning towards something that has to do with crafting things or whatever. Can you give me 20 business ideas that would fit into my life? If you want to have a service-based business, you can do exactly the same thing. You can say these are my skills, list off 10 skills that you have and say, can you give me 20 ideas that align with those skills? Boom, it's going to give you those ideas. If you also type in, how do I start a business in this state? Where do I file a business name? How do I set up a domain? How do I get a website? All of that. You can find all of those answers so fast in an AI program, ridiculously fast. And so what I want to do instead is talk to you about some of the emotion behind entrepreneurship, because this is really going to be so much more important than a lot of the nuts and bolts, because we have so much information at our fingertips that's not the problem. The problem is that we don't know how. It may have been the problem 20 years ago when you had to go to the library and actually pull a physical book off of the shelf, or type things in on the World Wide Web and do a Google search or whatever to try and find the answers, and it would take time to do that. It's so easy now to find the information. That's not the problem. The problem is that there's so much information. We are completely overwhelmed. We are flooded with a million things that you can do in order to get a business up and running. But nobody tells you how to actually decide what things are worth paying attention to. No one tells you how to decide or how to work through the emotions that come with entrepreneurship. I'll say right off the bat too that I really don't believe that entrepreneurship is for everyone. So some people might say everybody should own a business. Sure, but also there's a very real level of risk that's involved in any kind of entrepreneurship. And if you are someone who is highly risk averse, entrepreneurship might just be a total shitstorm for you that keeps your nervous system dysregulated all the time, and it's the worst. Especially if you are trying to fit yourself into an entrepreneurship track that is closely aligned with bro marketing. And how I want to define bro marketing is it's this hyper productive, just keep throwing things at the wall until you see what sticks. It's pump out more and more content all the time. It's this put your head down and focus and be productive with every single second of your day so that you can accomplish XYZ. I take a completely different approach to entrepreneurship. And I'll tell you a little bit about the story of how I became an entrepreneur. I don't even know if I could still call myself that, because I will tell you God's honest truth. I'm not making a single dollar in my business right now, and I haven't for a long time. There is a really specific reason for that. Some of it is intentional and some of it is just I haven't found the thing yet that I feel really good about selling in this kind of avenue. But my introduction to entrepreneurship began when I had 3 kids at home. My youngest was 6 months old, and I was like kind of going crazy with the the demands of motherhood with having 3 small children. And I was just feeling like so much of my life was out of control and wondering where I went. I was like, where is Morgan? Where is my passion? Where is my interest? Where am I? And so entrepreneurship just became this little thing where I was like, I'm just going to start this like hobby business, this little like gig that I'm going to do so that I have some type of creative outlet. So I have something that feels like I can pour myself into it and I don't have to worry about it getting like sticky fingers all over it, you know? Because at home it's like you clean a room and 5 seconds later it's messy. I was like, I need a project that I can work on that's just for me, that nobody else is going to put their hands on, and that I can just explore my creativity, that I can see what I can do, that I can learn things that I don't have to apply somehow in my home environment, but I just get to apply out into the world. It gets me out of the house. That was my motivation for starting a business. And I'm going to interrupt for a quick second to invite you to download something I just created for you. It's called 6 Ways to Embrace Mortality and Live with More Purpose. These are 6 simple exercises to start to view your life through the lens of your own mortality. And I love these exercises. They're pretty easy to do. One of my favorite ones is a life review meditation. morganmotsinger.com/purpose to download your copy. Okay, back to the show. The way that I began is I was pretty good at decorating. I didn't have people coming to me being like, please decorate my house. Like, you know, a lot of people will say, start the business in the same vein of the area that people come to you for. Like, what kinds of things are they asking you advice about? What kinds of things are they asking for your help with? And I was coming up short. Like, I have zero idea. Nobody comes to me for anything. I mean, I'm a soulful person and we talk on a deep level. And perhaps that's one of the ways that I contribute the most in my relationships. But like, I didn't have something that I was quote unquote known for. So there wasn't anything that I could fall back on. It just was like, I like decorating. I'm just going to see if I could decorate people's houses. And I was really drawn to this field of interior design for many, many reasons. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to like try it. So I asked 3 of my friends if they would be guinea pig clients. I said, if you pay for all the stuff, I will pull it all together. And so I started out with 3 very small spaces with very limited budgets and just did the best I could to make those spaces feel welcoming and homey and to serve the goal that I wouldn't say client at the time. I was too nervous to use language like that, but to serve my friends in their homes the way that they were asking for. And I did a great job and I felt super awesome about it. And the friends that I worked with had me do more stuff for them. And then they told their friends about it. And the next thing I knew, I was getting people who were paying me to do jobs in their homes. It took a long time for me to actually start making money though. I was like spending so many hours working on stuff, and behind the scenes, I was really working hard to understand the business side of things, because this is one thing about entrepreneurship that a lot of people kind of like smack a wall with, is they don't realize that the thing that they're doing is one set of skills. So the service or the product that they're offering is one set of skills. You know how to create the thing, you know how to provide that type of service to someone, but you don't really have the skills necessarily right out of the gate of the business side of things, like about cash flow and money management and time management and invoicing and charging people for services or charging people for products. And like, what do you do when you mess up? Or what do you do when someone wants a refund or when someone wants to negotiate your pricing? Like, nobody tells you how to do that stuff right out of the gate. And so when you become an entrepreneur and you start to learn the skills of business ownership, becoming an owner and an operator, it's a different kind of skill set than it is just to provide the service or product for someone. So in tandem with just building out the skill of interior design, I was also building out the skills of, you know, all the other things that come with it, with understanding the financial side of things, how to send invoices, how to charge appropriately for my services, how to mark up product, how to negotiate prices with vendors, all of those things. So I was learning the business skills in tandem with learning just the skill of being a professional in this industry. When I decided to close my businesses to go back to school, there was a lot of, I wouldn't say shame, but there was some guilt and worry about what other people were going to think of me. Because I had built up this company that was, successful and profitable. I had opened a retail space. And when I decided to close those things, I was like, everybody's going to think I'm a quitter. I poured my heart and my soul into this business, into all these different aspects. And here I was like turning my back on it and quitting and giving up. And it didn't really make any sense. It didn't make any sense on paper because it's like we weren't, bleeding money. We were actually doing really well. And here I was closing the door on that. And this is one of the things I think is actually a really important aspect of entrepreneurship that isn't talked about enough. Because a lot of times, like if you have something that's working, if it is making a profit, if you enjoy it, even if you don't enjoy it, but especially if you enjoy it, which I did, all of those things are true, then why wouldn't you do it forever? That's a big question. And one of the skills that has served me the best, not just in entrepreneurship, but as entrepreneurship is like this smaller microcosm of what my larger life looks like, is developing a deep sense of self-trust, to know that what is not right for me will not feel right for me. It's really counterintuitive and counterculture to stop doing something that seems great, that seems on paper like it's exactly what you should be doing, exactly what you need. It takes a lot of intention, it takes a lot of self-trust, and it takes a lot of guts to say no to that. So that might be like the first thing that I want to highlight when it comes to entrepreneurship, is how deeply important it is to, along the way, become a very self-aware and introspective person so that you can trust yourself when it comes time to pivot, whether that's in tiny ways, when you're just shifting the focus of, which customers you're serving, or tweaking something on a product, or developing something new. You got to pay really close attention to what's happening on a soul level for yourself if you're going to feel good about the things that you put out into the world. So if you are thinking about starting a business, or maybe you're in your business and you are burnt out, I would take some time to do some soul searching and start asking yourself these questions about, what exactly do I want my life to look like? What things do I care about? Where are the boundaries, the borders of my boundaries when it comes to charging people for money? What kinds of things am I going to be willing to put my name behind? Knowing that everything that you put out there, especially online, lives forever. So who do I want to be represented as in the online space and in my community, as people are sharing about me with their friends and family? What kinds of things do I want them to say about me? If you take shortcuts here, it's really going to come back and bite you in the ass in the long run, because people remember what it felt like to work with you. People remember what it felt like to be tricked. It is really easy to lose someone's trust and nearly impossible to regain it if they're a customer. I mean, this is true in your personal life too, but especially with people who don't have a vested interest in seeing that you're doing well, just, a customer. Once you lose their trust, like, you're screwed. So make sure that along the way in entrepreneurship, you are really asking yourself these questions about, what is this going, what is the way that I'm behaving, the things that I'm choosing? How is this going to impact me on a deep level? What is this going to do for my soul? Am I living like a Swiss cheese soul life where I'm disconnected with a deeper sense of purpose and meaning? And this doesn't This isn't to say that the work that you have to do has to be soul centered as far as that work specifically, what the work is geared towards, because you could be, I mean, you could be selling anything and still have a soul centered business if you are intentional about the way that you're doing it. So that's the first thing, is just let the entrepreneurship journey be a real journey of self-awareness and a real journey of authenticity and being honest with yourself about why you're doing what you're doing. Pay attention to the things that you're saying that you want your life to look like, and see if the way that you're behaving actually aligns with that. Another piece of it is that my journey into entrepreneurship was in some ways a lot simpler and less risky than many people's, because I was a stay-at-home mother and our life did not depend, our lifestyle did not depend on me bringing in an income. So we had enough give in there for me to actually spend the time to think about the business and develop the business. We had some disposable income that I could funnel towards getting this business off the ground. If you are someone who is a 2-income household and you're working 40 plus hours a week, your journey is going to look a lot different than someone who has the flexibility in their finances and their time like I did, or someone who, you know, has a very simple lifestyle where they don't need to make a lot of money every month. If you are a family, if you're a mother, if your children are dependent on you, if you're the sole earner in your family, like this, the dynamics are going to look a lot different. And the problem that I see a lot in this, in the coaching space or the entrepreneurship space, is there's this like blanket idea of like that everyone can do things the way that a single guy in his mid 20s can do. It's such bullshit, because if you have a family, their needs take up so much energy and time that it is impossible to funnel the same amount of energy into your business as someone who doesn't have those same responsibilities. So I'm just going to say this is like a permission slip to let yourself off the hook for that. There's this saying within like building contracting, which I think is true about all areas of life, that there's three different categories. You can either have it inexpensive, you can have it done well, or you can have it done fast, and you get to pick 2 out of 3 of those things. So if you're going to do it inexpensively, it can be done fast, but it's not going to be done well. You can do it inexpensively and you can do it well, but it's going to take a lot more time. If you want to do it well and you want to do it fast, you're going to pay for it. Okay, so if you're thinking about like what things are going to have to kind of fall to the side or not be paid attention to or not given energy to in the way that you're building your business, you can either have it, you know, those 3 ways. Either you can funnel a lot of money into your business and you can build it really fast, but it's probably not going to have really sturdy legs. If you want to build something inexpensively and well, it's going to take a lot more time. So the way that I decided to go about business is that I still kind of orbited my business life around my family's needs. So I was like very often hauling my 6-month-old with me when I would go shopping an hour and a half away for clients. I would take him with me when I went and did these installs. I would be staying up late after the kids went to bed to work on my website or to draft new contracts for my clients. I would get up early in the morning to do invoicing or work on the weekends. I had a supportive partner who was taking on the shared responsibility of kids and household in order to free me up to do this. So don't compare yourself to other people who have access to different resources than you do and be like, God, I'm so far behind, or why can't I just get myself together? I played this game with myself. It's not even a game because it really can cause some serious like self-flagellation when you feel like you're so far behind because you're continuing to compare yourself to people who, you know, perhaps have their kids in school full time, or they have a nanny, or they have a bigger disposable income than you do. So just stay in your own lane. There's this saying within motorcycle riding that's ride your own ride. That means don't go as fast as the people around you if that's not how you feel comfortable. Don't take the corners as sharply as they do. They say that with like hiking too. We went, my sister and I went backpacking on this big thing. And this woman who had done so many more hikes than we had says, hike your own hike. So go at your own pace, pay attention to your own body. And the same is true in business. Business, your own business, entrepreneurship, your own entrepreneurship. Like pay attention to your own journey. And that is the way that you can prevent completely burning yourself out. So this is my introduction to entrepreneurship today. I mean, it's a little bit jumbled, but I was really struggling before now to know how to talk about this series of entrepreneurship because becoming a business owner has been one of the best things I've ever done. And it has been one of the most profound tools of self-development that I've ever come across. And so I get really excited when I talk, especially to women, about like, you have no idea like what's going to happen to your confidence level as you like start to learn how to do these things and you're blowing this out of the water and you're killing it over here. Like it's amazing. And also I think that it's really important for us to be really practical about what is possible and what is probable and what you're able to do while keeping your life the way that you want it to look and deciding for yourself what that's going to be. So, first of several episodes on entrepreneurship. I hope this was a good intro for you into the realm of entrepreneurship. And I want to talk more about some of like the nuts and bolts and nitties and gritties. And I have a couple of episodes coming up that are guest episodes with women who are, there's one woman, Monique, who's an executive coach. And then the woman who was my business coach for a while when I was an interior designer, I worked with her for about a year. And she works with high achieving interior designers. And she shares a lot about really practical things like cash flow and the financial side of the business. So I think you're really going to enjoy those episodes, but I just wanted to kind of like lay the groundwork for how I want to talk about entrepreneurship, because like I said, if you really just need the nuts and bolts, like do yourself a favor, go familiarize yourself with Chat GPT or perplexity.ai, or I mean, there's a ton of programs out there, but you really can just find out that stuff really soon. And so what I want to talk about more is like, how do you navigate motivation? How do you navigate when you hit roadblocks that it's not so much about answering things in your logical brain, but navigating your emotions and your heart while you're working through these things and trying to build a successful and profitable business. So, all right. Thanks for joining me today. And before we go, as usual, P.S. we expire.